yeah.
What up?
I feel like that's just like the way that we just do it. We started with like the yeah. Always. I love it. Kicks on Stage, how you doing? My name is Justin.
My name is Christian.
We are here, ready to close out season 1 of Kicks on Stage. What a journey.
It's been a blessing.
It's been a complete blessing, man. For me, it's all about having good conversations, making sure you guys are enjoying what we're putting out. But most importantly, we want to know right now, Christian, as we always do, heat check moment.
Heat check.
What do you got on your feet? What's the drip? What's the outfit tonight?
Today, top to bottom. I got on some Cactus Plant Flea Market Nike Collabo jersey.
Okay.
I got on some track pants, but it's from the Nike Lab in Paris. And I got some Sakai waffles just because I know our guest.
No snap! We do know our guest. I figured to make it some homegrown Toronto extraordinaires. I got on my this is not, I'm not gonna lie, this is not Toronto's. This is some good old fashioned Nico. If you know who that is, Nico from Bathing Ape. This is the vintage Bathing Ape, not the new Bathing Ape that's once they got bought out and now they weren't. No, we're not. This is the original.
Yep. I
believe this is from 2004 or 5, if I'm not mistaken.
All right.
I had to find a plug.
Blingy.
It's very blingy. It's the Swarovski. I had to bring up the shinies. For tonight, it's gonna be the shinies. I don't know why I said the shinies. I'll stop that. I got on my Get Me Fly jeans. Shout out to Kai down there on Queen Street, Toronto designer. So shout out to him. And I have on my weekend Pumas.
All right.
I got the XO Pumas. Homegrown. That's what we're talking about. It's going to be a good one. I really feel confident that you guys are gonna enjoy this conversation. This man clearly needs no introduction. But we're going to give him one anyways. We're going to give him one anyways. That's what's up. We're going to give him one anyways. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to let my man Christian, you want to start us off?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Born and raised in Toronto, Flemo to be exact. He's been a b-boy, gone to commercial dancer, to studio owner. He's done everything from club promoting to fashion designing to event hosting to being one of the first dancers on social media in our dancer space.
We got Rihanna, we got the MMVAs, Ariana Grande. We also got 2014 World of Dance Las Vegas All Styles winner, and also the 2017 World of Dance Los Angeles Finals judge. This man knows his dance. He knows his fashion. He knows how to dress. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, please make some noise, if we can, for the one and only Dave Forteau. Come on in here, my man. Come on in here right now. Come on, stop. We got to do it. That's what's up.
Yeah.
Look at that. Even he walks in style. What do you got on your feet, bro? What's the drip today?
What you got?
Jeez, should I start from top to bottom?
Yeah, go for it. Explain the drips.
All right. So I knew what shoe I was gonna wear today off the rip. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try to keep it a little bit monochromatic, but still have some color pop. You know what I mean? So I got a Pilo hat. It's a dude I met in LA. We were in a writing session. He was out there making music. I was like, dope gear. He's like, I made it. I'm like, classic. Here's a hat. Bet.
Sick.
Right?
Bet.
Started with that. Then I got the Knock the Vest on. Shout out to the homie Greg, Then I got this. It's one of my favorite brands. It's new. I'm a fan of this brand.
Okay.
They're called
And that says a lot because you know your fashion.
Yeah, so it's called Rip and Dip.
Rip and Dip, okay.
Yeah.
Dope.
So got cats on it, and then my other name is a cat burglar, so I said it's fitting.
Represent.
Right. Cool. And then I got some quality cargo pants on from Montreal. Shout out. Boom.
Shout out Montreal.
Montreal in the house. Montreal in the house.
Had
yes,
to,
sir.
'cause I know my hosts. And then to finish it off, I got the retro. I don't know if you guys can see. Here.
He's flexible. He's flexible. You're talking about that's the first. I do believe that was the first time someone has put up their foot on the camera right now. I guys. Boom. That's what I'm saying. That's what's up. There we go. I'm liking the fit. So you're comfortable, you're relaxed, you're fresh.
Feeling nice.
We got a lot to dive into. There's a lot of moving pieces and a lot of different elements that you've had on this journey on this earth so far, bro.
Elements.
A lot of good elements. Yeah. So we do obviously want to start with, Kicks on Stage. We want to know about your dancing background. Like, how did dance find you?
Oof. I think I found dance.
All right.
Okay.
Actually, which is interesting. I guess if I'm going to go back in time, let's just put it this way. I didn't do anything productive until I was like 18 and a half, all right? 18 and a half being the pivotal moment where I was like, okay, I'm about to be 19. What's going on? Been in nothing but trouble, you know? So I started doing one of the worst things you could probably do, but it saved my life. I was mall ratting. I would go to Scarborough Town Center Mall.
STC.
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 Blah, you know what it is. I'm not going to go too heavy with the signs. I'm out of that lifestyle. But I used to go to FCC every single Friday and just chill with like the couple of the last friends I had, because I wasn't involved with some other friends I don't talk to no more. So I was like, I got to switch it up, change the vibe, you know, tried a couple different things out. I tried singing. I was in a boy band. No one knows this. No one public, really, unless you were there.
Is this an exclusive?
What's the name of that boy band?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even remember, but it was it's one of okay, so there's a crew, for those who know, you know, there's a crew called Buck and Flavor.
Yes.
One of the guys on that crew, his name's Ben Santos.
Ben.
Sorry, Ben. But me, Ben, and my boy named Jem, we used to sing at this youth group at a church,
Okay.
Holy Cross.
Okay.
And every Sunday we used to go there and we used to sing, you know, and at first, you know, it was nice seeing the smiles on like the older ladies' faces and stuff like that. And then it became a thing. It was like, yo, it's pretty cool. But looking back, I probably wasn't gonna be cut out to be like a singer. So tried playing guitar. I was like, okay, nothing's really working, and I started just mall ratting, just aimlessly mall ratting. And then one day I saw a bunch of dudes with like gym bags on and stuff like that, and they were going to this back alley in the mall, and I was like, well, like, what's back there? You know, I just had to know. My curiosity just like kicked in. Hence the cat burglar, you know, curious cat, whatever. I was really like curious. So every Friday I would come show up, and they'd be there. So one day I was like, I'm gonna pull up early and then see when they come through around 6 o'clock. So I waited, you know, waited for these dudes with gym bags. I'm like, all right, cool. And then they went to the same area, and it was actually, when they opened the door and I walked in with them, it was a totally free situation. It was a Tropicana. It was a SYRC, it's called, and it was basically like a community center. They had like computers for people to fill out resumes. They had a dance floor with mirrors. And I never even seen that, like mirrors and like people dancing, like watching themselves dance and enjoying it. I was like, what's going on?
Well, how old are you at this age though?
18 and a half.
18. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I literally didn't know anything about dance except for the fact that in grade 10, I had a teacher who taught me ballet, and I hated it. I was like, I had to do it to like graduate, you know? So did ballet, did like, you know, my across the floors, all that, right? And then it was just me and like 29 girls, so hence why I didn't skip that class. But I learned a couple things.
Yeah.
Maybe why I'm a little bit
Sweet
flexible.
Herman.
Yeah.
St. Pat's, Mr. Maine. Thanks.
Shout out to Mr. May.
Mr. May had my back, yo. Anyways, so that was my only experience to dance. And then actually in grade 12, I did what do you call those, like, where you leave school for a bit? Like half of the day
Like
you're
an
like,
internship?
yeah,
Not
yeah,
internship, but
apprenticeship or something like that.
Yeah, apprenticeship, yeah.
Yeah. So
Sorry.
it was at this African dance school, but I didn't actually do any dancing. I was a janitor there, and I did I did like the tasks. Like I was like a real intern. Like I had to do like pick up stuff and like, you know, clean the floor, clean the mirrors. So I kind of learned a lot about studio maintenance at that time, but didn't really know it. I was like, okay, cool.
Okay.
I have to do that to graduate, you know. But when I was in class in ballet, I actually learned stuff. So whatever. That was my only dance experiences. So when I walked into this place, it was like a kid in a candy store. I was like, oh, Lee, there's computers, there's people dancing, there's people making art on the other side, and there was like a sign-in desk, and the lady was like, yo, have you been here for? I'm like, nah. She goes, here, sign up. It was all free. And then I saw this dude, this buff, shorter dude, and he was like spinning on his head. And I was like, yo, teach me that, you know? And Lily said it like that. As he was spinning, I was like, yo, teach me that, yo. And then this guy literally got up, you know, after this cool spin, got up all like suave, and he didn't even look tired. And he was like, sure. I was like, what? You know? Because legit, like, this might be a little bit sentimental, you know, but no one really like helps you out without expect something in return.
Yeah.
It's like that. It's kind of how it is out here in the streets, you know, in the city. And I felt like I was like from the streets, you know.
Yeah.
So I never had that handout where it's just like, okay, there's no strings.
Someone just to help you.
Yeah, no strings attached. Like he
Yeah.
was just willing to teach, you know. And I was like, word. So he taught me like not how to headspin right away, but he taught me like a couple other things, and then over time I just got hooked. Like I came back like 4 Fridays. I think it took me like 4 Fridays before I was like, yo, I'm not doing nothing else. Like that's it, you know. And I was like, yo, where do you guys practice? What do you guys do? And they're like, yo, we like actually go to this place, and it was near my school. So I was like, oh, I'm already tapped in, you know. And then so I never looked back from then. That's how I started dancing.
Wow.
Turning point.
turning point.
All it took was somebody just to help you out.
Yeah, just to say, yeah, I'm down to show
I mean,
you
you
something.
you put in the work. You waited till
Yeah.
next day till they were coming through those doors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know?
I didn't know what to expect though. I didn't know it was gonna be like a breakdancing thing. I thought it was like that they were working out or they were doing something, but it looked like they were like they had a purpose, like they were driven towards doing something together. And I was like, yo, I like that.
Yeah.
Because where I come from, even though it was a little bit on the negative side, it was still a togetherness. There was still a sense of purpose, right?
Yeah.
So not to get into too much detail, but like that was my sense of family, and I lost that. But on purpose, I walked away from that. So I was kind of looking for that as a adolescent
Dope.
delinquent.
Nice. So you started with breaking.
Started with breaking.
How many
Yeah.
years?
I would say probably like 2 years heavy. So how it worked was every Thursday we go to Secord, and I'd be under training with my first crew ever that I learned from, but was never invited to be a part of the crew because they're stingy. It was a MEC, Maximum Efficiency Crew. So that's like my first teacher was Andel. And he's like a crazy b-boy. And then Pieces, who went on to create this thing called Unity Charity, pretty big thing. Their whole crew were like my teachers. And I would kind of dabble with, like, I'd go on the other side to go to Supernats and see what they're about. Then I would go over here to see what other guys are about, and I would learn a little bit from everybody. But the thing is, I soaked everything up, like, really fast,
Yeah.
I had some of the best, I guess, in that time frame teaching me. So I learned a lot really quickly, and then I was like, okay, what's next?
Right. Right.
And then, I kind of, like, learned. I didn't even, at this point, though, I didn't even know what choreography was. I didn't know about learning a routine with other people and then performing it.
Yeah.
I thought that the only reason why you do that was to, like, battle two other people. Like, two of us would make a little thing and we just
set.
smoke you. But
Yeah.
it wasn't like we're gonna go and perform for, like, kids. No, it never happened.
None of that.
None of that.
But shout out to Pieces, though. I do want to give you a shout out to Pieces because Pieces actually went to the same high school that I went to, Thornley. And he would be doing sessions like every day after school in front of the gym. He knows what I'm talking about when he sees this. And he'd be just going off and people would be like, just like cheering him on and like in the cypher going nuts. And I was like, yo, this dude, like, his power moves, like he's a strong cat. He doesn't look like he can hold his own, but dude can hold his own. And then legendary, hands down. And then on top of that, as you mentioned, went on to start and create Unity, which is just on its own like an amazing whole entity for the city of Toronto.
Yeah.
And beyond, like not just Toronto,
Yeah.
but like there's so much of the work that he does.
They have chapters now.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
it's
wild.
crazy wild.
Dope.
Yeah.
Dope. At that point, did you then, I guess you talked about choreography. Did you get into the choreography world? Did you meet a crew? How did that come about?
Yeah, okay. So I think, and this the only reason why I'm going to go deep is I feel like crews aren't made the same anymore. Like the way that people create that crew vibe, that family mentality. Like I mentioned before, I lost that, so I was looking for it. And when I found teachers and mentors, it was great because I was focused and I was learning really quickly. And I was just like shut up, learn. Like, every time I remember I was wearing shoes one day and I got them dirty, and then like they were
What shoes were they?
They were like they're called like the Bumblebees, but they're like the black and yellow high top Nikes, the Dunks back in the day.
right.
Yeah, I love those. So I had a plug at Goodfoot. My boy was a manager there, so I'd always go there and he'd bless me. Like there'd be long lines, and I'd pull up with shorty or like homie, and then I'd just be like, yo, what up? My first taste of like being cool, it was just having a homie at a store. That was like the low key plug for those who don't know. It's not about how many followers you got. It's who you know.
It's who you know.
It's who you know.
Take notes,
Yeah,
people.
yeah.
Take
It's
notes.
who you know. And how you nurture that relationship. Make sure it's real and authentic. You're not just using people. But anyways, enough of that. So so I was wearing those shoes. I got them dirty, and then Bagels and Pieces were like, you got to go home, bro. You got to change. I'm like, what do you mean? It's like, you can't dance in scuffed kicks. There's no way. There's no way. And I was like, this is stupid, But I learned the lesson. I went home, grabbed a pair of like shell toe Adidas, came back, and then I was like, my footwork was never sloppy again. And they're just like, that's the lesson, bro. MEC is like maximum efficiency. We don't have any room for like sloppy errors. Like, you have to be like,
Wow.
And I was like, oh,
Come on.
and that like gave me that drive, So I was like, okay, cool. I'm gonna keep being quicker and better and cleaner. And then I took that with me, and then I had met one of my good friends, one of my best friends, lived in the same building as me, but I didn't know he was into dance because he went to a different school. His name's Diamond, right?
Diamond.
Yeah.
Shout out Diamond.
Mom. Shout out Diamond.
So I was like breaking at this point in my life, okay? And I had already known Diamond because me and him had an altercation back in the day. He tried to be a Trey Songz and steal my girl. All right, real drama.
Hit you with the Trey Songz. Trey Songz on right now. Hit you with the Trey Songz.
He knows the vibe though. It's all good. It's all good. It's all love. It's mega love to be Diamond. So anyways, so I remember when I was like vexed though in the elevator because we had like a pool in our little condominium, like
Those
little
Filipino
triage.
guys, huh?
Yeah, right. So we had a pool, and the girl she was Filipino, you know. So anyways, she was in the pool, and I seen them talking, and I was like vexed. I was like, yo, you know. And then we'd take the elevator together because he lived 2 floors above me. So like I'd always see him in the elevator, and me and him would just be like awkward, you know. Yeah. Anyways, there was a dude that I used to work with. So the only job I had after I started dancing was motivational speaking, randomly enough, because I worked at like McDonald's, I worked at Best Buy, I worked at Loblaws, and then I worked at like Hollister for a bit, and that's where I met all the b-boy guys. And they were like, "Oh, we met you at Scarborough Town Center." It was a full circle thing, and then after that, I was like, "I'm not working again. I'm gonna figure something out." And then my friend Sajin, he used to dance, and you know, me and him always had that rivalry. Like it was literally like if you ever watched Dragon Ball Z, it was literally like I'm Goku, he's Vegeta, like legit. He just always trained. Like he looks like he has like 12-pack abs, like he's like a monster, you know. But you just couldn't beat me. I'd just be so carefree, you know. But anyways, he was like, "Yo, this is some movie stuff," you know. He was like, "Yo, we're having a school dance, and it's like it's not prom, but it's like a school, you know, thing." And I was like 18 and a half. I was doing my 5th year, you know what I'm saying? Like I just failed a bunch. So I was still in school. So it wasn't weird for me to pull up. So I went to their school. It's O'Connor. I guess who went to O'Connor? Diamond. Right? So it was like, "Oh, I see you here. It's time."
Oh, man.
Yeah, and he danced. And I was like, okay. I know a couple of things, you know what I mean?
Right.
Hit it with the backflip. He's like, it was just over. Just crushed it. Him and Sage.
The backflip shut it down.
Shut it down. It was over. They didn't see that stuff. You know? They're just doing all their little.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that's how me and him became friends, though.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then he was like trying to start a crew with some people that he knew. And I knew this one kid who loved to dance, but he didn't want to do what I wanted to do. He wanted to like make choreo and stuff. So I introduced them. That was Greg. And I knew Greg from a while ago because he almost got beat up at my school, and I was still a thuggy type person. And I was like, "I got you." You know, I protected him. Yeah. And he came around and he's like, "What do you do?" I'm like, "I breakdance." Like, sick. It's not for me though. Like I want to like do something different. And yeah, so I kept him around until I met Diamond. I'm like, "You guys should be friends." Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then C2 was born from that.
So you're the original plug, dance plug.
Hey, I'll take it.
Take those flowers.
I'll take it. Bring people together.
Bringing community together.
Bringing community together.
Time.
Hey, that should be like a shirt.
That's a shirt.
It's gonna be a shirt.
Kicks on Stage merch coming. We got collab.
It's happening.
That's dope. So that's how C2 came about.
That's how C2 came about. And then out of necessity, you know what I mean? Like they were like, "Well, you can flip and stuff, and like maybe we can use you in our sets, you know?" And then I was like, "Sure," you know. So I rounded up 2 of my other b-boy friends, my friend named James Lee Murphy, and then Noah Ing, Knives, and we learned choreo. And it was funny at first because I guess I'm a little bit more natural to it, so I learned. But then my boy James, like, he just does power moves, like he flips and does all these crazy like air flares and anything you could think of. You know, he does all that stuff, but he doesn't really dance. No rhythm. No offense. Still a great guy, but he didn't.
Can you dance and not have rhythm?
I mean,
tough question.
You got to top rock on beat.
You have to.
You have to.
You have to.
You can't. Like I don't see you else doing that.
Yeah, it's about the essence of the rhythm.
Yeah.
He didn't have that. He just knew moves. He had moves. At that time. He had moves.
Right.
But C2 helped a lot. Okay. All of us.
Yeah.
If I didn't join C2, I wouldn't have been a dancer. I would just been a b-boy. But I would have been able to break on beat because I had rhythm. But yeah, C2 was like the first step to me learning choreo, and then like I kept rounding up like my friends that wanted to dance now that I knew there was a place. Because I remember my other buddy, like Noah, the guy who breaks, he was like, I know 2 kids who really, they're good, but they need people to teach them. And it was Jimmy and Mike, Jimmy Lee and Mike Lee and Jimmy Lin. And then I was like, okay, bring him around. And then I had to battle Mike, shut him down because he was like all cocky. You know, he's young. He was like 13. And I was like, shut up. You know, they just smoked him. And I was like, you can hang out now. And then Jimmy was like just like super into it, but he didn't know what he was doing, and I didn't know how to teach him. But it was like, this is the finesse. All right, here we go. I'm gonna give you guys the secret. On Friday at Scarborough Town Center, I practiced. Right, I learned some stuff, and every Friday it got better and better. I got better, and then Thursday I started breaking hardcore with the like MEC, like the really good guys, like pieces. Mm-hmm. But on Friday there was other people that came around. There was Mayhem's Finest. There was a Baby Boy.
Jeez, big crews.
Yeah, and my boy Rowan Cheers, shout out Rowan Cheers. He enhanced my rhythm. Like he took it to the next level. You know, I was like his son. You know, he was like, yo, you're my protege. Like I'm gonna train you because I see me and you. And I was like, all right, word, let's go. You know. Yeah. So I would learn stuff from him on the Friday, and then on Monday I would go to Sherborne and Wellesley. There was a community center there, and it was like a nicer one. They had like they had a basketball gym, and they had like things. You know, it was nice. And I brought all the kids, my kids, there, and I would show them what I learned on Friday. I would show them on Monday. I practiced it at home, and I'd be like, okay, Jimmy wants to learn how to tut. I don't know how to tut. How do I figure this out? No YouTube, you know, none of that, like, didn't know. So I'm like, all right, let me figure this out. Rowan taught me this, and I'm like, okay, and I figured it out, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna make a little set, like an 8 thing, and I'm gonna show Jimmy on the Monday. And I would do that, and he would like take it, and he would like add to it. I'm like, hey, sick, you go do that. And then Mike would like want to learn how to wave, and I'm like, okay, cool, let me figure that out. So I would learn things with my older homies, and I would come back and teach the younger guys right away. There was no like transition process. It was like I was teaching while I was learning, and might have been unorthodox, might have been kind of bad if you think about it from a teacher perspective, but it was like all we had. It's all they had.
At the end of the day, you were sharing. You're trying to help these kids out, you know?
Yeah. And then when C2 came, I was like, that's the savior, because then now everyone's learning together. I could bring these guys in as long as they get along, they're cool, and I could just dance, you know. And that's when I started dancing and learning how to like do choreo.
Wow.
And out of that birthed Raw Dance Crew. Me, Greg, Jimmy, Mike.
Wow.
We were like, okay, we're gonna do this.
Yeah.
We got a little bit of everything, you know. Mike likes to do his like isolations. Jimmy likes to pop and like tut. Greg's like a choreo master now, and like I still break, but I can do all that stuff. So let's just do it, you know.
So you have like this ability of like bringing people together, right? And like the networking and just like this passion and love you have for people and connection. Like, so was it around this time where did you get into being involved in nightclubs, or like when did that switch kind of happen for you?
The nightlife.
The nightlife.
Perfect. Perfect. I don't know if you guys can use that.
Flex bar for that. Flex bar for that. Perfect.
Nice. Yeah. So I'm trying to look back in my head. You know, I've been around for a while.
That's the beauty of Kicks on Stage. We want to dive in, Dave. We want to give the people a full history lesson of how you came about to just not just with where you are now, like all that layers, man. We trying to peel it back and really dive in, bro.
I like that. And to answer, I only been to 2 clubs before I was 19, and they were both like 19 plus clubs. I was snuck in. All right, do something about it. All right? I went to government and some other spot, you know. And then when I was 19, there was we were performing. So we were Raw Dance Crew so this was quick. So I started dancing when I was 18 and a half. C2 was like 19 and a half, and then Raw was like I was like 20, 21, you know. And I haven't been to clubs. I wasn't partying at that time. But then we had a performance. It was like Filipino Day in Wonderland, and it was like an after party, you know. So we do that, and I'm there, and there's like a girl crew called Inflation. Shout out to Inflation, you know. They were performing, we were performing, and then like there was like the promoters there were like all Asian, you know. Right. And then I was like, cool, whatever. I'm in there, and then my whole life I've been around a lot of Filipinos and a lot of Asian people. It's like my peoples, you know. And everybody else, but like they were like the most prominent in my life at that time, which is where I'm from. So, anyways, the promoters actually had a problem with one of my boys that I brought to the party because he came to watch me perform, but he was also Mike Lee's older brother. Okay. So there was a little bit of an altercation happened at a restaurant after. We went out to eat. It was chill. We brought some people with us. They brought some people. There was some looks exchanged, and I was like, something bad's gonna happen, you know. And then we got into a huge fight at the pub place, and they had to remodel it after. You know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. So yeah, funny enough, after that altercation, I guess they had known each other though. So you know, Facebook was a thing at that time. It was new. They were friends, and then the guy found me, and I was like, it's gonna be more issues. And he was like, yo, your network's huge. How do you have 5,000 friends on Facebook? I'm like, bro, I don't know. Just meet people and just, you know?
Yeah.
It's a lot of things till I was 21. So, you know, yeah, I know a lot of people. And he's like, yo, you want to be a promoter? Like, what's that? You know?
Really?
Yeah. And he's like, yo, like we could use you. You can make some money. And I was like, I'm already like, this is going to sound wild, but I'm just piecing it together. But every day, no matter what, I would get up at 8 a.m. and I worked at this place called the Students Commission of Canada. So we would go to high schools and we deliver a presentation on anti-gun, anti-gang violence based on my past and based on how bad the cops were doing of a job taking care of the streets at that time. Year of the Gun, 2005, it was a whole bunch of stuff. So they had me working in these classes. So I was doing motivation in the day. But then at night, I was promoting nightclubs. The darkness, okay? The light in the dark.
The contrast.
The contrast. The contrast.
Stop. Wow. Kicks on stage first. Okay.
I get to do that. All right, sick. Because you know what he does in the movie you watched. Yes, okay. So, yeah, so he was like, come out and try it out. You know what I mean? So we did a party at this place called Frequency Throwback, okay? Then it became Metro, then it ended. But Frequency nightclub could hold about like 1,800 people. And yeah, I'm not gonna lie, we like packed that sucker. Every week. It was wild. I was making money. And I was reconnecting people that I've met over the years. People are older now, everyone's trying to party. And it was a vibe. But that kind of like, I would say that really strengthened my network because people came together, met other people, and people started like making things happen. Like for example, the Beatdown is because of me promoting nightclubs, because the nightclub promotion company, they sponsored and paid for the Beatdown to happen, you know?
Wow.
So it's like if I didn't like suck up my pride
Right.
after I got into a fight with these people and just squashed it and became friends with them, the city wouldn't have the Beatdown. And then they wouldn't have World of Dance. So it's like, it's pretty pivotal.
One
Yeah,
without
what
the
a moment.
Exactly. You're gonna have one without the other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that balance is important. Nice.
When you're in the nightclubs, and for those who go out to nightclubs, maybe not now, but sometime soon, okay?
Yeah.
I've been to different places like the Cabanas, right? And you go to these places and you wear a fresh Jordan because you feel like, all right, it works with my fit, okay? Being that you've been in the nightclubs, and this is like early 2000s, we're saying, right? Did you ever have to like tell the homies or the people who were like, yo, like Dave, like, can you hook me up, put me on guest list and be like, yo, make sure don't wear no sneakers, don't wear like, or were you that cool promoter that was like letting people in, they can wear whatever shoe they ever wanted to wear?
For the first 3 years of my promotion, I promoted for like 5 years. The first 3, it was hell because my phone would not stop banging.
Yeah,
like it was nuts.
That's any promoter though. Any promoter, you know, like Friday night.
But it was only for problems though, because of those things. Dress code was in effect all the time in certain spots, and people, it was like we had to have so much. We had to like really flex our influence before the club owners were like, "Yo, we'll allow it," you know, because you know there's other events and other parties and other people that were coming into these spaces because Toronto wasn't that big. We don't have that many spaces that these club owners are jaded. They're like, "Yo, we don't want a certain crowd, and if you guys can't wear dress shoes, and we don't trust you," you know. We're like, it's the vibe, it's the culture that we're trying to promote. So that was an ongoing battle for like 3 years. But then when New Light became an actual like giant in the promotion space, I feel like they couldn't tell us nothing. We were able to do whatever we wanted.
Wow.
Yeah. So
A lot of club promoters didn't like that. Like me and another good friend of mine, Nathan, we used to go to clubs and we would like wait for like a good like 3-4 like Sean Paul like dance hall set, and then we would just like go off because like obviously like Give Me the Light and like you know all those songs were like popping in Toronto culture at that time.
Definitely.
Yep.
So when you would wait and you go out there and do your willy bounce or whatever, right? And girls would be like, oh, like you can dance, but then we would make a circle, right? So then people would watch us and the bouncers would come up, flash the light on us and be like, yo, you got to stop. I'm like, yo, like we're just dancing. Like we're here to dance.
Really? Oh,
Pull us aside and it's like, yeah. We have no problem with you dancing. The problem is that like no one's at the bar.
yeah.
Everyone's watching you dance
see.
and no one's at the bar buying drinks.
It's all about
So
the money.
you got to stop doing that.
Ah,
And I was really
see.
cheesed about that.
that
You wanna
hurt.
make
That hurts
money.
me. That hurts me.
Yeah.
That hurts me.
It hurt even more when I went to LA and I realized that no one danced in LA clubs.
No one.
That shit's whack.
You know
Sorry.
what
You had
No,
to say it.
for sure. You know what it is though? I got a grievance with that. I got a grievance for sure because I see the both sides. This is the thing. And I watched you, you know, like at events and after like shows and stuff, and like I'm gonna say you're cool about it, you know,
Yeah.
just in general. But I know that you're cool about it. You know what I'm saying? Like I understand
I
what
appreciate it.
I understand what you're saying
Right.
in those spaces. Like you're just trying to do your thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if I paid $10, even $5 to
Right.
get in somewhere, and my passion is like to dance and let loose, like you know, like my lady wants to let her hair down, dance with her friends, like, and do her thing. And why can't I do that?
Right.
Yeah.
I just so happen to know how to,
Yeah.
spin on my hand. Like, yo, don't hold me back, bro. Right? But so I get that. But at the same time, some people go too far. Like what you guys are doing, it makes sense. And the circle thing to me, the cipher makes sense because it gets people hyped up.
Yeah.
And then it's like they go drink after.
Exactly.
Exactly.
There's a moment to be had there. But then there's like the circle hogs. There's the people that like have you ever been to like a all styles battle where like there's 3 or 4 battles happening on the side while the main event's happening?
Yeah.
Like I don't like that as much because if that happens in the club or whatever, then it's like, let's say there's a group of girls that are watching you guys dance, but then after you guys are done your explosive couple rounds and you go and you chill and you talk to some honeys, you do your thing, but then there's like 4 or 5 other people that are like, that was my chance. And they're just in there all day, just killing it. And then people are like getting kind of bored of it. Then it kind of like devalues the situation.
Exactly.
I don't like that in the clubs. I just don't like it. It's like, it's almost like, when people come down from out of town and they're in the clubs and you're like, yo, you're like one of the best dancers in the world. You're not trying to dance. I remember I was talking to, because when we were promoting, when New Light got hip today, doing the beatdown, we would fly down people from out of town, and then we'd be like, let's bring them to the club. That's our home. Like, you guys are going to come, you're going to have a good time. You know what I mean? Like, that's how we got away with a lot of our situations. We're like, yo, we're going to take you out. We're going to do this, we're going to do that. So we'd bring people out, and then we'd be like, yo, you're like legendary for dancing. You're like famous. You're on TV, bro. And there's people lining up over here. Why aren't you dancing? And then I remember one guy told me, he was like, bro, it's my day off. I'm trying to chill. I'm like, oh, true. And it opened my eyes. I'm like, it's more like do whatever you want. You know, like there's times where like I remember we flew down. Like I think the most person I've ever flown down, the most amount of times, is probably Brian Puspos. He's like one of my brothers. You know, but like there was times where he'd come and he would just dance like all night because he wanted to freestyle. He hadn't had a chance to freestyle for like 6-7 months.
Right.
But there's times where he's like, he just did a leg of shows and then he's like, yo, I'm trying to just chill.
Right.
And it doesn't take much for him to do what he's got to do for people to be attracted to him or whatever the case may be. So that kind of opened my eyes in terms of like how to act and move in those spaces. Because I used to be a little bit more like battle oriented, right? So if I saw someone in the club just doing their thing to get a little of the shine, I would go in there and shut that shit down every time. There was no chill. I had no chill until I was like 23, and I'm being honest, I had no chill. So I had to learn that, and it was a learning lesson for me for sure. But I like. Nothing bad ever happened to me, but it was more like just like seeing that and like, oh, okay, that's how you move. That makes sense. That's cool. And then now I feel like I can navigate those spaces way better. But if I want to jam or if I'm getting a little loose, whatever, I'm just going to do it.
Right.
Do it up.
So from in the club space, fighting for those kicks and the dress code to change, and even before that, you scuffing your shoes. Talk to us about when you first fell in love with shoes. Oh. When did that happen?
Word. Okay. Okay, so let's just say the group that I was affiliated with in high school, we wore a certain color, right? And it was all about the matching. I'm telling you, when I tell you that I used to wear 2 do-rags, okay? Because we had like 2 different flags sometimes. It was confusing. We'd collab with another group and we'd like, okay, we're going to wear both our colors this time. So I'd have 2 bandanas or 2 do-rags, and I would do like the first one, then the gray on top, and then I would do the crossing of the laces so it's like you can see both colors. That was like my fashion. Like I feel like that was some of the best times, But we'd always have to match our kicks. So we'd go to Town Center, or we go to like I never even touched Eden Center really until I was like 19. But high school days or whatever, it was all about going to Town Center, going to the homie shops, or go to places that we know people at, and then just like see what we can find that we can match with our fit, And that was kind of how I started out with kicks. And then when I started dancing, actually, that same lesson that I got from Pieces and Nastic about not scuffing the shoes, protecting the soul, and all that kind of stuff, I was like, true. And then I was like on a hunt for like what's the best shoe to dance in? And I think Tricky Troubles actually got me into Air Maxes, Air Max 90s, and that was like my first favorite shoe. It was like Air Max 90s. Yeah.
I was gonna say which Air Max is the best shoe to dance in.
And I'm gonna tell you right now.
Some people say Air Max 1s. Air Max 90s is a go-to for sure.
Yeah, I think it depends on what you're trying to do. And I've really done some digging on this, and I've taken some time to research and also field test a lot of things. And like I think it's situational. So like if you're if you're like I'm not trying to like be generalize it, but I'm just kind of lay it out there. Like if you're like more into crumping and needing to be grounded, then like anything that resembles an Air Force One, like something that's like flat, that's more like you can feel like the stomp. I feel like and it's heavier, gives you more weight. Those are more suitable for like if you're gonna crump or you're gonna be like doing choreo where you need to feel grounded. But if you're gonna I guess like use your feet and like almost like flying steps, like really like kick your feet around and like move and be nimble. I think like Air Maxes, the way that they have that certain give on the toe, it's not flimsy where it just like it's actually like pretty sturdy up there, and then the back is like elevated.
Yeah,
it allows you to like really move and be nimble. Yeah. But then Air Max 180s. I don't know if you guys know 180s from back in the day, but the 180s. I love those because those looked the most stylish to me, but it was hard to break dance in them. I could do like choreo, I could do flips and stuff. It felt more like a original Presto vibe to me.
Right.
And it was more like nimble, but it was kind of fragile.
Right.
You know, so the 90s were the sweet spot for me, I think.
So were you always a Nike guy?
Ooh.
Good question.
You mentioned shell toes earlier.
I did.
You scuffed your
Caught
shoes-
that.
You
Caught that.
scuffed your shoes and you went home to get the shell toes. So like,
Yeah. Okay. So my first dance gig ever. This is gonna sound. I'm not even trying to. It's not brag or anything. It just happened. Situational. Okay. So we're dancing, and then me and my boy James Lee Murphy, crazy b-boy, amazing tricks. Me and him were like, yo, we need to like get some real world like experience. So we started like sessioning with the guys at Dundas Square. Have you ever seen those guys that are on the mat? They're called Concrete Styles. Legendary. Okay. We went up to them, you know, and we like, yo, can we kick it with you guys? You know, like we don't want the money. We'll just do our thing. And then if you guys like it, we'll kick it, you know? And then we did it a couple times. And then when the Adidas store opened up on Dundas Square, the original one that was like by the AMC or whatever, they'd be seeing what we were doing. And then one of the girls actually chopped one of the girls that worked there, you know, oh geez. Anyways, and that led to a friendship. And then she was like, yeah, I know the manager here, and he's looking for like people to stand out front and like do what you guys do, but on this side. So we just coordinated with stunts in them, so it wasn't conflicting. But me and James would perform every Sunday, and what they would do is they would give us a fresh fit and our $200 or whatever it was per week to perform. But we'd be there for like 5-6 hours. So we'd come into the store, drop off our clothes, and then just change into whatever they give us for the week, and then we'd keep that. You know, so I got a collection of Adidas shoes from there, and then I was like on that way for a bit. But before that, I would buy Dunks, you know, and then I converted a bit to Adidas, but out of necessity. They weren't even like trying to make me they weren't trying to like lock me in. It was just for the gig, you know.
Do you still have those Dunks, by the way?
Oh yeah,
Okay,
I saw them.
good.
Yeah, I did a shoe drive though at Right Foot, and I gave away like I think it was 35 pairs of shoes. Yeah, I had like a whole rack of everything, and then people would just come to Right Foot, and then I would talk to me for a second, and they'd pick the shoe, and it's like it was a moment, but it was cool. Yeah, they went fast. But anyways, but yeah, so I was Adidas for a bit, and then
no Pumas, Breaker,
No Clydes?
no Clydes?
I tried Clydes, hated them. You know what it is? It's because they're the closest to. This might be weird, but the closest to like Air Forces, where they're like flatter. And they didn't really give me any, and I was like, you know what? I would rather Gazelles. I was a huge Gazelle guy, and that's partially because of MEC, gymnastic pieces. All those guys were just Gazelles, you know. So I'm like, all right, might as well just copy that, you know. I rock with it, and it actually was nice. It made me like I was able to do power moves and not feel afraid that I'm gonna hit my feet on the floor. If you have heavy shoes, you have heavy feet. You can land early and then scuff them, and I was scared of scuffing. You know, I got scolded, scarred. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, so I dabbled with Adidas a lot, but I didn't really touch Puma too much. And then Nike came back in a big way, which we'll talk about later.
Yeah, we'll get there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You know, there's this transition period in the city of Toronto where there were different dance studios that were on and popping. You had you had your DLM that was they had their moment, they had their shine. And then you know, there was the OIP as well too, and then you come in here, and you just kick in the front door like Biggie, and then, and you just
Waving
say
the faux.
waving that 4-4, and you're like, no, I'm gonna put my imprint on this right now, and you introduce us to Right Foot, and Right Foot, legendary. dance studio in the city of Toronto. We got to give you your flowers 100%.
That's nice.
Talk to us about the conception and kind of like how that came about to be, in the city of Toronto.
For sure. I think a lot of my trials, tribulations, and like goals and aspirations, they don't come from like revenge or anything like that. They come from like having without, so I don't have access, or I don't have that, or this doesn't exist, but it should kind of thing. That was like always my driving factor. I think it still is. So even with clothing, like I briefly touched on it, but like when I was coming up and I needed things to match my shoes or whatever, I was like, why don't they have shirts that have this? Or why don't they have things with double pockets or like whatever? So when me and my boy started making clothes, that was our main goal, was like we need to get the things that we would want out of the things that we don't have. So same thing applied to a studio. When I was dancing, I was learning really quickly, like I said, mentioned before, and then I had a crew, and then we were performing a lot, and we made friends with other crews, and there was community centers that had our backs. We were there for free. Every Friday we would be at St. Lawrence Market. There was like a studio there. Not a studio, but it was like I guess it was like a gym thing, but they had moved at one point they had moved all of the gym equipment, and then eventually they completely removed it. And it was like literally our spot every Friday, and then there was other activities that they had in there as well, which was kind of, I'm gonna move this way a little bit. Yeah. So that was kind of like the start of us having a space. Before we would just like practice on like driveways and like random places, to be honest. Sometimes even in Eaton Center, like in the back at night when it was closed, it's just like random things. But this transition of us going into a space, and then 3 years later when C2 was fully developed, we started bringing in other crews that were needed space. Like we're like, oh, we know a spot. There's a crew called The Dream, like G Villa. He was one of my youths, back in the day when I was like mentoring people, and he the full night. He brought us to his school. We performed there. We like helped out with his thing, and then like we're like, yo, what are you guys saying? And they practiced in front of their school. They practiced like in a field. So I was like, yo, we got a spot. Come true. And then so he came through, and then eventually I was like, yo, like we're gonna need a bigger ship. You know what I mean? And then but we just sat on that idea. It was like, whatever, we got this spot, it's free. We were winning competitions with a free space. I'm like, yo, we don't need nothing, And I didn't even know what that would even look like, because till that date, 21, 22, I had never been in a studio before, like ever, like as a person learning, like pay to like learn something. So I didn't even have that like experience, But and neither did like Diamond and none of those guys. We just didn't do that stuff,
Right.
But I knew DLM existed, and I knew OIP was around, but we didn't have the access. I didn't even know who to talk to to get in there.
It was different though, because like DLM and they had a different client. They had a different commercial client base.
Yeah.
Right. So like if you're not a commercial dancer, like why would you go to DLM to go take class at that time?
And we didn't even know. Like I said, I didn't even know who to. Like, could you even just walk in there? Like I just didn't know. You know what I mean? So, anyways, St. Lawrence decided that they had to close down. Like they had to close down like that section for us. Like we couldn't have that spot anymore, and it was like pretty abrupt. So we were like, dang, like what are we gonna do? And then some of the guys that were dancing with G Villa, like they had homies and like older uncles and stuff like that had spaces on St. Clair, and they're like, yo, like we're opening this hat store with this other person. Like we need someone that, like if you want to like have the back and you guys can just keep practicing there, or whatever, just pay X amount a month. And I was like, ooh, if we're gonna do that, we might as well make it official. And I was like, yo, I'm ready. And my mom, actually, kudos to her, she was the one who wanted me to open a studio right when I started dancing, because she was like, oh, this changed your life, like da-da-da, and like you used to work at the church and sing, why don't you just go back to the church but use their like, and she had like this whole floor plan. It's so cute. She had like this floor plan of like the columns were like would be the barriers, and then you'd make a little like linoleum floor, and then you and your friends would come and you would dance like in the church, and then she would organize it with the person so that it would be like free, we would just do it. But I was like, nah, but then she already called it Right Foot. She's like, yeah, get it started.
Your mom gave you
my mom gave the name. Yeah.
Wow.
Dukes.
Yeah. She was like, oh, you're gonna, like if you're gonna help, because she kind of knew that I was helping people out. Like that's like my like thing since I was younger. So she was like, if you're gonna get people started, you gotta get them started on the right foot. And I was like, oh, I was like, yo, there's no need for like any changes. I'm like, that's it,
Mama
Yeah.
Dukes.
So, me and Greg had long discussions about this, and then we brought in Diamond, and we brought in the whole gang, and we were talking about it. And I'm like, well, listen, if I'm going to take the lead and like really like push this forward, like it's not going to be like a C2 thing or like a dream thing. Right. It's going to be for like everyone. So like what we're going to do is, if everyone divvies up like this is the cost, let's say it's like $1,000 for easy. I'm like, okay, everyone give me $250 a month. Figure it out. Like if you have 30 people in your crew, you guys can figure out how to get $250. You know, and then same with you, and then I'll find the other 2 crews because it was only the Dream and C2. There was nobody else. I'm like, we're gonna do this, you know. So then we got the space, opened it up. The homie gave us like 6 months to like. He's like, yo, I'm gonna pay for it. Just hold it down, you know. I'm like, okay, cool. We got this. Let's do this. So we built the space with the guy. I had my boys that I went to elementary school with, my boy Artie and Mark, and they actually like. They did the real estate stuff to get the place, and then they actually did the construction, got the floors in, got the mirrors in, everything. Like it was pretty simple. They not simple, but for me it was simple. They did the work, you know. So, anyways, we were good to go, and I had C2 practicing, and I had the Dream practicing there all the time. And then when they weren't doing it, it was like the B-boys. We would come in, we just do our thing, and it was all like a free for all, you know. And I had people that I didn't even talk to for years. I remember me and Pyro were close, like back when I first started. I was like, Pyro, come on down, like these people just come, and then. I was like, what other spaces are there like this? And then people started telling me like, yo, there's OIP, there's DLM. I was like, yo, let's go to DLM right now. Let's go. I know a guy who dances there. Like I was in this movie with this kid, J-Man, Jordan Francis.
Jordan Francis.
Yeah, shout out Jordan. I'm like, yo. I'm like, he probably remembers me. Let's go, you know? So we went to like me and Greg and Jimmy went to his class. And it was like him and like 2 girls. And I was like, what is this? You know? But it was a class. It just wasn't a lot of people in there. But it was easy for us to get in there because there's no one there. So we were there. And then like the next class after was like Lenny was teaching. And it was like 50 people in there, right? And we were like, what is that? You know what I mean? Right. And then there was a girl I knew. I think she was in a competition. And we like, sorry. But we like smoked them, you know? Anyways, they were there. And I remembered her. Her name's Leah Totten. I was like, yo. I know her. Let's go in the class. So we went in the class. We took a Lenny class. You know what I'm saying? And if you know me, and then, you know, Lenny, I'm like, oh,
those are 2 styles that are classic.
Yeah, different. But I was like, sure, let's do it. You know. So we took the class. I'm like, I'm proud to say my second dance class ever was a Lenny class. You know, interesting. And then I'm like, okay. So I started talking to Leah, and I'm like, yo, I got this. I'm like dancing. I got this space, yo. You know, like it's cool. Like I know you and your girls. You have like 15 people in your squad. Like, yo. If you guys need a place to practice, like this is what it is. And I told her, and she was like immediately down, you know. And then so I had the boss crew in there, and then so I had my rent was covered from like day 10. Rent was covered. I'm like, yo,
networking.
It's who you know, not how much followers you have or how much money you got.
So Right Foot wasn't a studio where people could come in and just like take class initially first. It was just like
just a space.
Just a space for crews. So crews did their thing, and then I was like. Then I started like almost like headhunting. I was like, yo, if I'm gonna do this different, I'm gonna do it way different, right? And I'm like, and also this is what happened. So before Right Foot, we were negotiating. We went to OIP, not me, Diamond and Greg went because they knew someone. They went to OIP and they had asked if they can get a flat rate to do what we did, like a crew thing. And then they're like, nah, you know, they was like, there's no way, you can't afford this, you know? We're like, okay. And then we tried everything. We even were like, okay, like, I think it was not America's Best Dance Group, but there was another thing happening. Oh, we went to U.S. to perform at this thing called Prelude. We competed, C2, and we met people there, right? And the company, like Shauna Aristu and all these like other really dope esteemed dancers, we kept contact with them. And I was like, yo, I'm gonna fly Sean out, pay his rate. It was crazy. It was like $2,800 per class. He was, he was crushing it. But I'm like, yo, like, we know enough people that will pay that much money to take a class from him because they know he's lit. Yeah. That shirt thing video, you know what I'm saying? So if you don't know,
you go on YouTube. Jillian Myers, shut that down.
Shut it down. It's my guy. Yeah. So, anyways, we flew him out and his buddy George Anzaldo. Yeah, flew them both out. Threw a party for them. New light. It was lit, wild, right? And then we had the workshop in OIP, and it was sold out. And we made sure they got paid. Everything was good for them. But then we were looking at like our profit. We're like, we should have been laughing, but we paid my whole Right Foot rent for that one does 2 days, and I was like, whoa. And that's when we're like, hey, out of necessity and the fact that we're without a space that we can actually utilize, Right Foot was born. Wow. So, I tried to go different ways, couldn't. I'm like, okay, we're just gonna do it, you know. So we did it, and then as a space naturally kind of formulated the best of the best from each crew. We're like, yo, like, I could teach other people. You know what I mean? And then, and Leah was like, I do this though in Ottawa. Like I teach people. And like I'm pretty sure other girls would be down to come take my class if I opened it up. So what I'll do is every Friday. So it wasn't even like a regular thing. It was like, okay, let's say boss crew practices twice a week, right? Tuesday and Friday. First every month, once a month, she would open it up to public, and then people would come to the class, and it was full. It was like workshop stuff. That's all I knew was how to bring in a guest, pay them their money, and then charge what I think would be enough so they could make it and we could eat a little bit. That was the hustle, right? It's like selling drugs. but that was the essence, right? So that's from what I know from my background, right? So I'm like, okay, if I do that, everything will be well, right? And they're already paying the rent with the crew, so we're good. So I started doing that with each member of the best person in their crew, and then it eventually became like who they thought would be next up, and then it was like almost like, a mini network of teachers. And then I was like, well, what's next? Like who do I want to learn from? I'm like, I know a guy. The only guy who's ever smoked me in a battle was like Mariano. Like I want to learn from that guy. So I found a way to contact him, and then he was like, he came to the studio, he saw what was up, and he's like, I don't teach though. I'm like, but you could, This is like free ground. It's like different, And he's like, well, what are you gonna pay me? I'm like, nothing. I'm like, you're gonna pay me an hourly rate to rent this place, and you're gonna charge whatever you want and keep everything. He was like, that's wild. I'm like, it is. Let's do it though. Yeah. And he was like one of the first, and then I guess it worked. And he was like, I got another guy who you should probably like hit up. And I'm like, who? He's like, this guy named Tommy Stees. He's like a legendary popper. And I was like, bring him on down. You know what I mean? And then I started to slowly craft and cultivate the people that I really looked up to and thought were dope. And then the people that my peers thought were dope. And we kind of like crafted that ship together. So it wasn't like a thing where I put on an ad or I was like, I'm looking for teachers. It was more like,
it's organic.
It was organic. It just came together. And then when we had a really good thing running, I was like, well, let's open it up to people that don't have the opportunity, because that's what this whole thing was about. Because it was like organic, then it became a tight ship, then it became exclusive, and I was like, I don't want the exclusivity. Like I thank people. It was nice that it was cool to be at Right Foot, but like I didn't want that, because the fact that it was cool other places was the fact that we weren't allowed in. So I don't want to do that to them. So I'm like, okay, let's do something called the Spotlight. So it's called the Spotlight. Next up, the next course. If you think you're a good enough teacher, but people might talk crap, like, oh, you shouldn't be teaching because you're still learning, blah, 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 all the politics. I'm like, all that aside, if you think you can hold your own in this space, it's like a boxing ring, Pay me my money. It's going to be more than the hourly rate we charge our resident teachers, because they're esteemed and I trust them. You're some random person, but you think you're dope. So you pay me this much, come through. I'll make you a flyer. I'll film your class for you. I'll give you all the tools you need to succeed. You just gotta be good, and you gotta sell tickets. It's like a nightclub, Same situation. So they did that, and that list piled up. Like I never had a Wednesday that was empty. So many people wanted to teach. So it was boom, 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 and I was like, yo, this is dope. You know what I mean?
I hope someone's taking notes right now. If you're an entrepreneur and you're trying to start a business, I hope you're taking notes of how you can make it. You've dropped some crazy gems so far. So make sure you're taking notes right now. So you want to?
Yeah, I just wanted to comment on that, because as I was coming up dancing in the city, you were one of the first people that I recognized as giving the opportunity to those new or underrated or underground people and giving them a spot to teach. And mind you, that came with a lot of backlash, like all the OGs and the people in the city that had, their way of how the city went, which I understand. I'm sure that came with a lot of heat, but you gave that space to people, and that's super dope, because again, from your teenage years to your early 20s to like that studio, you've always used your connections to kind of give back and give an opportunity, and I think that's super dope. So yeah, props to you, man. Like that's awesome.
There was a hat store in the back of Right Foot, right? Was it
in the
front?
The
front.
So the storefront was a hat store called Snapback Goods.
I should have bought more, just saying.
Trust me, we all should have. We should have, because now it's lit.
Now, yeah.
Yeah, it's like I was doing commercials for them. Like it was just like a give and take. You know what I mean? They were like, yo, we need like because everyone there was Filipino working there, and they're like, yo, we need someone different. Like you put the hat on, like you get a video. I'm like, yeah, sure. And then I was like, yo, like. I'm like, dancers come in here every day. Like, let's start doing like deals. So we did like, 2 hats for this, or like dancer would come in, take a class, and I'm like, yo, leave with a fit or whatever, And we'd start doing things where we would like play with the fact that we had a shop at our And that inspired me to keep pushing my clothing, right? So it yeah, it was good. It was a good time.
We're gonna get into clothing in a second, but you said something that I really want to ask because I feel like it's like this hidden secret that most people don't know how to like successfully execute. I may have said that word wrong. My apologies, but I get it right one day. How do you navigate in terms of these negotiations with these LA dancers or just American dancers to come out here? Like, is there like a certain protocol that you found that like, hey, I did this. Once I achieve that, I can then sway this way? Like, how did you like get all these different people to come out here to the city?
True. Yeah, I'll explain that. I think like thinking about it really now, I guess it's like I'm not trying to pull a Soldier Boy or anything, but like if I were to be honest, it's like we are one of the first to fly in people just to teach like a workshop for the public, like not like a specific situation. Oh, you're coming here, you're going to teach this group of kids so that they can go and perform for Samsung or something like that. Like, you know, it's not like a choreographer's ball or anything. It's just literally like you're coming through, and I know that you have fans in my city, and I want to expose your fans to you in real life, you know? Because like when I was learning how to break, there was no YouTube, so I couldn't watch anything. We were handed like VHS tapes and like CDs and stuff of like old school like session footage, like people dancing, but like it wasn't edited. Like you'd see like my favorite is like this Migas. He's one of the best b-boys to ever live. He's from Toronto. He I have like a 30-minute CD where he like 20 minutes he's not doing anything, but I had to like watch to find the moments, you know. But those are like, and now they have like the 6-minute montage, and it's like legendary on YouTube. You can look it up, Migas Vengeance. But yeah, I had like, that's how I started. So when YouTube started coming up, I knew the struggles. Like I knew what I had to do to like see stuff, you know. So when America's Best Dancer came out, because I seen and met Sean Evaristo and those people and Cabo Modern and those people before ABDC, because I was in the States competing, which a lot of dancers in Toronto didn't do, because I think crew competing wasn't really a thing for us, because Toronto was like very commercial, which is great. You know, we got the jobs and we got a lot of things, a lot of structure going on, but it was a lot of other people that wanted to just compete with each other and like have like, you know, like scrimmages, you know. And I think I provided the space for that. But within that, I was like, how do they get better? Because I'm not saying I got tired of winning, but I was like, how do people get better? Because there isn't like a roadmap for that, you know, in Toronto specifically. But I know in like LA and those other places, like there's roadmaps. There's people who are showing, that crew mentality has been around longer than ours. So I was like, okay, ABDC is crazy, but at the end of the day, I'm like, you guys haven't been here. You know what I mean? Like nah, you're fresh off a TV show, but you haven't been here. So what's your email? Oh, your email's in your bio. Convenient. Email you. Boom. Hey, I'm from Toronto. I know there's at least like 300 people that would take your dance class at X amount of dollars per pop. If I like, what is your rate? Whatever it is, let me know and we'll talk. That's it. And then once they hit you back, if they hit you back, you dabble. You know, say, okay, cool, boom. Like if you wanted to just work with like a set amount of people that are like from the same crew and you're working towards a goal, like what's your rate for that? And like, is there any wiggle room? We just figure it out. You want to do 3 classes, like you want to bring a homie, and then you guys stay together in the same room, and then we'll do 4 classes, but we'll charge a little bit less. And then you just kind of see what makes the most sense for them so they feel comfortable. Because at the end of the day, I think a lot of the hosting excellence that I have is from the nightlife. If I didn't work at clubs and have to deal with what Uber drivers have to deal with at 3 a.m. now, if I didn't have to deal with that back then, I probably wouldn't be able to be such a good and amicable host for people, so they can feel, because it's kind of sketchy. Like I know people who have been to other countries and they've gotten scammed, they've gotten they've gotten stranded in the city where they had to work their way and like pay, like they had to like work at like McDonald's type of situation to get enough money to fly home, you know, like things like that. So to come all the way out here on a whim when someone's like, yeah, I got you money, like it's tricky. It's a tricky space to navigate. So I'm not gonna downplay it by any means what we achieved, but I think it comes down to just understanding what the host wants, and like almost like picture them as like they're going on stage in front of like 50,000 people, even though they're not. But it's like that can happen when it comes to YouTube and the where it goes. So just treat them like that, you know. So just offering them, even if it's like 50% up front. If you want me to, I know you know we don't have Venmo, Cash App, whatever it is, but we can get you half your money. Get
your money, yeah.
And then we pay for your flight, here's confirmation, and then work it from there. And then you always like throw in like, oh, there's a little party here. This is happening in the city. You almost want to like, it's like when they come out, it's like they're on vacation until they do the job, and then they're back on vacation and they go home. So they're chilling. Like we always have like a party lined up, or there's something else to do, or there's a shop to go to, or there's a podcast to come check out. You know what I mean? Like there's things to do so that they feel like their trip is like kind of like predetermined for them, and then they can still do the thing on it if they want. If they have other homies, but like that's how it started. Is we kind of like predetermined their thing, almost like a itinerary, as if we were booking them for like a show
Gotcha.
to sing, because that's I think that's what the highest level was at that time was when concerts were a thing. So we're like treat them like that.
Treat them like that.
Yeah.
Did you ever get burned before by a choreographer?
You
haven't mentioned no names, but you can say.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not burned, but I think like a miscommunication on like pricing, and then it turned into like a thing where like, I'll be honest, more honest. Okay, so we had booked this person before, it went great. They were the most expensive artist we've ever worked with, but after I was like, I got too caught up in like the trying to help vibe, and I was like, yo, like I got like this other thing if you want to do it, and it's like what would you charge for that, and they gave me a ridiculous number because they were like, yo, there's no way this guy's gonna do that. But it wasn't for me, it was for something like else that someone asked me if I could hook it up, and I tried, and I was like, yo, they'll pay that. And then they're like, bro, we just want to do it. I never spoke to that person again after that.
Really?
Yeah, they just kind of got like offended that I was trying to even push that job on them. And I was like, yeah, it sucks. It was a wedding. They still want to do it. And I was like, true.
I mean,
I
guess things work out. Sometimes they don't.
Yeah, and that's probably the only like negative experience I have with when it comes to like booking talent to come down or whatever. But it's not, it wasn't negative for me and what our product was. But
Right. In the midst of all this, how do you? Is it just the culture you're a part of, or I just want to know how you stayed in tune with the sneakers? Like I remember like coming up and like you were the first person I seen with Red Octobers when those dropped, and I was like, yo, this guy is on some next level stuff. Like is that was just like from traveling or meeting different people, you just go to different sneaker shops and you were just in the know, or like did you actively go looking for that while doing all this other stuff?
Well, this is the thing. I think it comes from my love for fashion, right? It's like I believe that like everything should be done in threes, So I always try to focus on at least three things all at once. And it sounds wild to the people that want to just be like A-type and like just the one, But I like doing things in threes. So like music, fashion, and dance. Those are like my three things. And I can actively do each of those three things with almost anything I do. Like even today, there's music involved in your situation. We're talking about dance and shoes, but it's fashion. It's all three. Boom, easy, right? So like with kicks specifically though, like I think my traveling and venturing out to meet other people, and like there's even like a YouTuber that we started connecting with, and he came out from London, UK, and he was famous, like he was out here and he was getting stuff sent to him from different stores. He was doing appearances and like doing like autograph signings in stores, and they would just whatever you want, grab it, And we were in situations where we like have done enough for that person where they're like, yo, like I don't want this excess. So like if you can do more with it, it's yours. And one of those gifts was the Red Octobers.
A gift?
Yeah.
Stop. Stop. Hold on. It was a gift?
Yeah. But I'll tell you the story about it though. Ready? I'll tell you this
Cuss
is
on this thing right now.
This is the story though. This is the story. So he didn't know it, so it's not his fault. But those were fake. Ooh. Right? So I don't know if you guys remember, but there was a video that we did with Nozo, my clothing brand, in Right Foot, where we burned a pair of Red Octobers live. That wasn't like VFX. That was like real. We lit those on fire. Okay, and it was like a concept art piece talking about like culture and like how we don't support fakes and stuff like that. And it got so much attention. It was on Complex. It was like it was doing well. You know what I mean, for its time. And then we had gotten this like obscure email in our inbox like, what size are you? Bailing address, blah blah blah. And I was like, okay. And Flight Club has sent us a pair of real ones for that video. Yeah. Jeez. And I was like, and that's the real pair that I have now.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that was a moment. That was a moment.
And all because you were just being genuine about it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy.
I'm so cheesed right now. I can't even. I'm
about to go burn a fake pair of shoes.
Oh my
hope
gosh.
someone emails me.
Oh my gosh.
Damn.
We mentioned earlier, on an earlier episode that like with fakes nowadays, it's hard to kind of tell which one's real, which one's fake. And I already know the answer. I'm not asking if you rock fakes. I'm not asking that question. But if someone who's out there, anyone out there, if they can't afford, the real Sean Witherspoons, if they can't afford those Travis Scotts, like, Do you think it's okay for them to rock it, or do you feel like, like just save up some money and you can get it?
I'm gonna be super honest, because this question has been on my mind for so long, just in general. But I've always had the answer. I've never been as strong to say it with my chest. Yeah. I'm gonna say it sober too. It's crazy. I think it depends on your purpose. So, for example, me, my entity and what I do for the world, in public, I shouldn't wear fakes. There's no way. Right. If I do, I'm a fake. It's bad. It's no point. But if someone is like, it's like wearing chain, like jewelry. Like if you're an artist and you're striving to be the best and you're out here and you're putting your neck on the line and you spend all your money on some jewelry, it better be real. Because someone comes and tests you, your whole career is just gone. Right. Like, and you spend it all on the chain, you're washed, you're ruined, right? And I think it's like if you put up yourself in front of the public eye and you risk yourself getting exposed, if you're not willing to deal with what comes with that exposure, don't wear fakes. But if you are a dude who goes to the gym and you work out every day and you want to wear the comfiest stuff to work out, it's like not the Red Octobers, but like the black and green ones.
Mm-hmm. Solars.
The Solars are like one of the most comfiest shoes. So it's like yeah, if you would rather comfort, I would buy a $50 9 out of 10 fake pair of Solars and work out in them, because the function is comfort and you want to look fly at the gym. Who cares? Right. That's what I would say. It's like if your purpose isn't to showboat and be this like chauvinistic, like, yo, I got all the best stuff, da da da. If you're doing that and it's fake, it's wrong, But if you're, because sometimes like things are made with better quality. So even if it's fake, it's still going to be a leaps and bounds better than like your average other random name of shoe that I'm not going to talk about, because you never know. Like I've walked the fake markets in China before. I've been there like in real life, and like we're looking for fabric for our brand, but then there's we get lured into this alleyway and it's like boom, here you go, every shoe. Like I remember I was wearing I got sent the Sakai's, the waffle shoes, the gray and white ones. I got sent those from Nike a week before I went to China, and I literally was like, okay, I'm gonna bring these and like one other pair of shoes and just like hold it down. I'm going to China. There'll be stuff there, right? So I'm in the fake market now and I'm wearing those, and people are literally like, store owners are coming up to me like dozens, and they're taking pictures. They're taking pictures of them. I was like, whoa, this is intense. And I thought I was cool, but then they're going up to their shoe and they're looking at it and they're comparing, and then they're writing. There's like little notes. It's like 9 out of 10, 8 out of 10, 8.5, and they have the notes there. So when you go, you know what you're buying. You can see it. Okay, by the person who's selling you this thing, they're telling you if this is a 7 out of 10, this is a 10 out of 10, this is like a replica. And they kind of like, so at least they go that far now. So that's what I see in my own eyes, and I can understand why someone would buy a bunch of fake shoes that are like the coolest looking shoes ever, because it's nice, and it's comfy. But I wouldn't showboat it though. No.
Fashion is also a big part of what we talk about as well too. We care about the aesthetic that we have on. We take pride in it as well too. So with you in your clothing and starting a clothing brand, did you find that it was the same kind of challenge as running a dance studio? Did you feel that it was completely separate? How did you find running your clothing brand and bringing it some notoriety and attention compared to like your dance studio?
And that's Nozo, right?
Yeah, Nozo. Yeah.
It was very different until I made them the same, if that makes sense. So it started with a t-shirt brand called Twisted Swagger. So that's the first thing I ever did with my boy Dave Collar. So me and him started a t-shirt brand together. It was like, split down the middle, very simple, easy to deal with. We just made a bunch of shirts from American Apparel, got the blanks, printed stuff on it, sold it. Too expensive. People bought it. They loved us. That's the answer, short and sweet. But moving forward, when Right Foot became a thing, me and him started to drift. And he was like, yo, like I want to take this into like a European approach. I want to get like tweed and like, buttons and stuff like that. I'm like, I don't really like that stuff. Like I like streetwear, bro. Like I'm out here trying to, be fly, So we kind of drifted apart. And he was like, yo, I'm going to go this direction. I want to change the name. What do you think? I'm like, it should be called Collar because it's your last name. And if you're going to be a designer now and actually cut and sew, not just make t-shirts, you want to like put your name on it, like you're a designer now, bro. Like I dubbed him a designer. And then boom, he changed the name to Collar. And then we moved on. I had Right Foot, he had Collar, and I helped him out whenever he needed, but it wasn't like an official thing. And then as Right Foot began to grow, like my other boys, my boy Eric Ng, he had another brand called Pardon La Dopeness. And I don't know if you guys know that brand, but it's like the one that, it's a pretty notable brand in Toronto. Like they did a lot of work with The Weeknd in the early days, and you know, lots of back history there, but him and his partner had split up too on the same time. And my boy Eric was like, he used to breakdance with me and stuff, and then he was like kind of like a chill dude, you know, but when he got into fashion, he changed. He was like gaudy, like swagged out. He come to parties, dripped down, like, you know, I was like, yo, this guy's cool, man. We reconnected at a party, and then got drunk, and then decided to make clothing brand together.
Sounds so simple.
Yeah. And that's where Nozo came from. And we were like thinking about it, and then his younger brother was in China going to school for 2 years, and then he came back, and he was like, yo, I got some connections. Let's do this, you know? And then we were like, hey, let's go. And then we started Nozo, and then we also relocated Right Foot downtown at the same time, because we're like, yo, we're going to have a bigger operation here, and I'm going to team up with you guys, and we're going to make this a big thing. So dance is a huge part of my life, and, you know, we couldn't really do that dance stuff with Collar because he's going a different direction, which I respect. So with Nozo, we should keep it a little more streetwear, a little more urban, skater, dancer-ish, you know, and they were super down for that vibe, and then that's kind of how we tied it into my life. So it wasn't a different addition. It was more like just like an add-on, you know?
Dope.
How much sleep were you getting at this time?
Oh. Honestly, like, it sounds weird, but I've always been good on like 4.5 hours for like the last 15 years.
Wow.
Yeah, 4.5. Yeah.
Jeez.
It's wild. But like, you get used to it, and I take like power naps. Like I like exposed, but I can sleep anywhere.
Right.
Okay, like I've slept like standing up waiting for a bathroom and on a plane. Like I've slept like in the back of a car with the seats down, like just laid like that. Anywhere, like on a bus with like 1 million people, like before masks.
Yeah.
Like I've slept anywhere. I can sleep right now. If you guys try to figure out some technical issues, I'd just be like, all right, cool. Yeah, I can sleep really still too. It's weird.
Like 20-minute power nap. What's like the
15,
limit?
15.
Oh, 15.
Yeah, it's a quick
thing.
Yeah, but I don't. You know, it's only if necessary. You know what I mean? But I'm just saying, like, I also conserve energy. It's like a weird thing that I think more people should start doing. You know when you have like a friend who like talks really loud all the time, not you. Like I mean like loud all the time, and they exert their energy. And like certain people talk with their hands, and they do. There's so many things they do, and nothing's wrong with that. But I think I've mastered like how to just conserve until I need to. Because I remember as a break dancer, like you use a lot of energy for these things, right? But you'd be in situations where people want to talk. There's one thing you want to do, so I want to enjoy all those things. But I still want to crush this set after, you know what I mean? I still want to dance for 5 hours and like really give it the business, you know? So like I had to figure out how to like master that, and I think I've done that.
I just want to say like a huge thank you. I know I said it like over the years, but like you used to hook me up with like Collar and Nozo all the time. Like I was in Montreal back and forth, but anytime I come in town, I hit you up and like you're like, yeah, come through, and you'd link me. And even when I started getting to sneakers, you were like, yo, check this, check that. And I just want to say thanks because you kept me fresh. Like I didn't know where else to ask, but I was like, okay, I know Dave, so like let me see. And you always laced me with like the nicest stuff, and you gave me a good deal, so I appreciate that. And I remember 2015, I had a gig out in China. I was in Shanghai. I don't know if you remember this. I was shopping and I saw a Nozo hat, and I was like, yo, how is this even here? Like I just left Toronto. How is this here? And I sent it to you, and I was like, yo, it was so crazy that like your stuff was in China. I was like, wow, he's crushing it. Like that's super dope to see your stuff all over the world, halfway across the world.
Respects.
Yeah, super sick.
I got to, I knew about you, Dave, throughout like my dancing career in the city, but I actually like got to like connect with you through Raylan and that opportunity. Obviously, like you came to the studio, Creative and Dance Styles as well, but I was able to connect with you, and then I was able to have this opportunity through you for World of Dance. So with your connection with World of Dance, bringing it to Edmonton and Vancouver and Toronto, like that experience in itself, World of Dance, do you feel like, right now with where the dance culture is at, do you feel like World of Dance helped? Do you feel like it deteriorated? Not deteriorated, that's the wrong word. Do you feel like did it give the right shine on dancers, World of Dance, do you feel?
This is what I'll say. And I mean, this is obviously like, it's tough to, this is the weight that you were talking about earlier on my shoulders when it comes to like the dance community. Cause I feel like there's a lot of responsibility, you know? And I think World of Dance was like a step in the right direction for where the city should have been, but I don't think it was ready, you know? Because like I said before, when it came to like us uncharting new territory with like crews and like competing amongst each other and like going to other cities and like doing like mega crew battles. Like that thing wasn't a thing. Even like America's Best Dance Crew, some crews had like 7, 8 people max. But we're talking CTO had like 35 at one point, you know? And it's like, that's a lot of people.
Right.
And like, but that wasn't the thing. Like when if you did a commercial gig and they needed 50 background dancers, yeah, sure, you'd choreograph it and it'd be a thing, but it's definitely different, you know? Like we have to account for like, okay, how are you gonna show that you're smoking this person or whatever? So I think the idea of big crew things weren't really a solidified thing in Toronto, but I think I've been working up to it my entire career because with before the beatdown, because I worked as a motivational speaker at that company with Sajin, and then my boy Jay Rebel, I got noticed by Unity. You know, like they were like, "You're my boy. You dance with us and stuff." But like, we see what you're doing though, like on the side, and like we're doing the same thing, but in all creative space. Like we literally mentor and teach youth through hip hop. You know, like I was like, "Oh, bet," and like they offered me a job, and I was like, "Yo, sick. I'm down." Like I haven't worked a real job in a while, but like I'm down. You know, and I was, I don't know if you guys know, but I don't know if you guys know, but I basically. My job at Unity when I got hired on as staff was I was in charge of Unistyles, and that later became All Styles. So there wasn't an All Styles thing in Toronto. It was like people, you know, like I would, if you want to reference someone like Pyro, Mariano, All Styles dancers, right? There wasn't a space for them to do things. You know, they would just do their whatever style they need to do in whatever situation they need to do it in. So All Styles was like a chapter of Unity that I was going to schools and I was like, hey, if you don't want to break dance, this is what you can do on the side. And I wasn't even that great at that stuff yet. I was still really b-boy, but we noticed at Unity that a lot of people didn't want to just break dance. There was other things. There was other music. And I was attuned to that, and I was like, yo, we should try some other stuff. Well, you do it, Dave. I'm like, okay, sure. So here's All Styles, you know, and then it was called Unistyles first, and I ventured off, and then we, with the help of some of our other buddies, we were like, okay, let's use Unity as a platform, and let's create a battle. And it was like we had like at the festival, there's always like a b-boy event, there's a b-box event, there's a spoken word event, right? And there's a rap concert at Dundas Square. So we were like, can we slide in some like all-style battles in the b-boy battle? And, you know, obviously in the beginning, like, hell no way, breaking forever, you know? And I'm like, no, we gotta just try something different, you know? We got like, I had to sell them, like we got a bunch of girls there, want to do some things, you know? And like, all right, let's go. So that was the first time we did a Unistyles battle, and there's footage, you know, you can check it out. It was at I'm proud of this, you know. It was at the Queen Elizabeth Theater. Was like the show, and then we had like the upstairs was like the battle. You know, that was like my testing grounds for any of this kind of all style situation. And it went over well. You know, people started battling each other, and there was like all these other dancers out of the woodworks I didn't even know. There's a guy I remember he won the first World of Dance all style battle, which by the way, all styles didn't exist in World of Dance until I created it in Toronto. And Ralph, for his last name, Mescalian, he won that battle. He was the first, the first
Ralph,
All Styles.
yeah.
The first All Styles. He was the first All Styles winner of World Dance history ever. You know what I'm saying? Like really. So yeah, but it was my testing grounds of doing that at Unity, and then convincing New Light to create the beatdown, and then the beatdown was successful for 3 or 4 years, and then I was like, let's try some extra stuff. Let's do like a live battle on stage. Wasn't really their thing. It wasn't really our crowd, but we adapted and people started to get used to it. And then even the judges were people that were supportive of that. So then they started jumping in, and it was a thing. Then like, you know, year 7, we have Mariano battling Pyro on stage, and people are like loving it, you know? So that was like another testing ground. And then when I got the opportunity to do World of Dance, I was like, we're doing that though, because that's Toronto. Right. You know what I mean? And then it took on to the point where it became everywhere in the world after they took the idea.
Wow.
But it's fine. Like, I let them have it. We're good. Yeah.
I had the opportunity to host World of Dance in Toronto. The energy was great. You know, for me, just looking out in the crowd and like seeing like the responses.
Is that the first year?
No, I don't think so.
It was the one in government, right?
That was at the Queen Elizabeth Theater as well too.
I have a first year story after.
That was the second year.
The second year. You had like Leon Blackwood, you had Jordan Ward, Isabel Capsule was there as well.
Yeah.
Capital. See, thank you for correcting me. Appreciate that. So yeah, that was my experience, you know, being a host there and you know, seeing the crowd, and after the All Styles battle as well too. Do you think that, I'm not sure if you remember the situation that happened there. I'd rather ask your opinion. Do you remember what happened there?
Oh, yes. Because we were mentioning Mariano a lot. Yeah, I remember.
That was Rihanna with one of the judges that was there. I won't say her name, but one of the judges that was there, she didn't want to participate in what she wanted to do. She was like, you know what, like you handle the show, and I was like, I was only called in to do like a certain portion, and she was like, no, you do it, and I was like, that wasn't what I was called to do.
Yeah.
And she's no, you go. I was like, okay, I guess I'm gonna run with this. I'm gonna run with the flex. Do you think that shout out to Aaron Aquino, run the flex. That just came into my head as it happened. Do you feel like, okay, so when American talent comes in here, they're they I guess hold themselves like this high standard, like I'm American, like I have my career and I have my resume, and then us Toronto cats come in and we feel like we're the same way. And there's not an equal pay. Do you feel like sometimes like there's a discrepancy in how American dancers are treated compared to like Canadian dancers? Because like I'm pretty sure the pay I got was not the pay that she got. Mm-hmm. But like, how do you feel like is it looked at differently sometimes with American dance? I know you're Canadian, but do you think like American cats feel like they deserve more than us Canadian cats?
No, I think the opportunity and what that cost outweighs the opportunity and what that costs here over there. Mm-hmm. So, for example, like I'll put it this way: like obviously we've been saying like it doesn't matter how much followers you have, but like who you know.
Yeah.
Out here, that's very true.
Yeah.
But out over there, like the fact that I have what I have on Instagram, to me, it's not that huge. But in America, it's pivotal. Mm-hmm. Everywhere I went to a restaurant. I just posted the food. I liked it.
Right.
They followed me, retweeted me, like immediately. They was like, boom, you're a celebrity in my eye. I'm like, no, I'm not, you know? But it's because it's so much harder to achieve what they achieved to get where they got to in their country. So I think that carries over with them when they come, automatic. But then for us, I'm not saying we have it easier because we do not. But the fact is, like, we all, like, there's only a few of us, you know? And we don't even really see the people behind us because if they're not as good as we are, then not they don't matter, but they're not on our level, you know? But there's so many people fighting over there, and then there's the people that have made it. I think that they hold that pride, like, yo, we made it, you know? Because there's, like I said, like there's only like you said, like there's only a couple dancers who were on social media at the time where you were coming up, like, and me being one of them, it's like, to me, that's like laughable, you know? Because like there's so many, like, who do we watch? You know what I mean? Like, and what did they do? It's like, we could do that. We're doing that right now. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, but it's like not a lot of people do that though, right? So I think that plays a huge role, and also the fact that we definitely underprice ourselves because of what we have at our fingertips here. If you went there, you could charge that. You know what I'm trying to say? Yeah. But you'd have to show the talent first because you don't have the exposure, and that's just the way it is. Yeah. You know, there's only so many Brian Pusposes. You know what I mean? Like that's just how it is. Like he's the GOAT for that. But if there's like 5 of us like him here, if we don't have his numbers, we're not doing what he's doing.
Right.
It's just how it is.
Now I know you do things in threes, you know, in terms of your work. But do you ever, you know, over the course of your career, did you ever feel like you spread yourself too thin, where you weren't able to give the right amount of attention to every situation that you would have liked to, and maybe that led to any discrepancies or problems in a certain situation, or regrets even? Like, did you feel that over the course of your career if you're doing too many things?
Talking about relationships? Relationships? I'm just joking. Yeah, so obviously that answers that question. But for work, I think, there definitely are times where I feel the strain of spread myself too thin, but I don't think it's about the work. I think it's about if I'm being honest, it's about the distractions that come with the type of work. So for example, as a dancer, you kind of alluded to it earlier, like we would kind of, you know, and you know, there's females in the room, not trying to disrespect, you know, but like there's a part of you that says, okay, there's a certain anatomy in me, there's a certain vibe I give off that people can tell. I'm a dancer, or they could tell I can move a certain way, and maybe that excites them, maybe it doesn't, whatever. But it's a little bit more natural, a little more, it comes a little bit easier, but you have to just know how to control it, right? But as you grow and develop, temptation and distractions come with that as you get bigger in the scene, you know? And that's just like one animal to tame. But then if you're doing something else like fashion, you know, and you could be like a rock star, you know what I mean? Like, and then you're in a different world where you're giving out, if you're doing photo shoots and there's bad people out there, and there's just things, you know. And then as someone in the music space, like you already know how that goes, right? Like music videos and
Oh yeah.
you know, concerts and backstage and what people want to do certain things. It's a lot. So I think those are if anything, I would say if I stayed more focused on the tasks at hand and not reaping the pseudo rewards that came with the quick gains, then it would be, I would have less regrets. You know what I mean? In a sense, but I don't think that the work or taking on the projects I took on ever held me back. You know, even when it came to Right Foot, like, I think everything has its time, and I feel like a lot of people were sad that Right Foot were closed, and I was too. But I really felt like the space I gave the space to the city so that they could have a place to learn and grow, and people that weren't considered teachers could become teachers, and people that, you know, there's any doubts on anyone that needed to sharpen up their skills, like they were able to do that in the space, and whether they were able to maximize by using their resources at their fingertips and like make videos and become a personality or whatever it was, the space was there for them to do it. And I thought that was a job. And then once I felt like people were, okay, this is like, what else, you know, what's next? Like, what's next for me? And are you guys willing to come on that ride? And if not, like, I have to close this because I'm done with this, but I feel like I've done enough, you know? And it was getting really expensive. You know what I'm saying? It was getting tough. The economy was tough. So I think like in hindsight, I was like, yo, I really feel like the next step is people getting signed to management or getting signed to like agencies and then getting work from companies and brands and then just managing content, whether it be like in their home, outside, in their studio, just managing content. And then flash forward now, you know, we have brand deals, we have Reels, we have TikTok, we have YouTube Shorts. There's so many avenues for people to get paid if they just focus on creating their content and having people market their content. And I think that's what I saw literally right after ABDC. Like I remember I never watched a dance video in my life except for like physical copies of like B-Boys. But I watched all of So Real Crew, shout out Brian Puswas again, Andrew Batterina, all those homies. Like I watched all their YouTube videos and that was just like them on the road to going to ABDC. But I thought it was so fascinating. You know what I mean? And I'm like, that's the future. And it is, you know? So like, shout out to them for seeing it and doing it at that time. But then I was like, that's what we need to do.
Yeah.
So that was my next step.
So, and that's where you are now, right? You're doing a lot of this social media campaign. So I guess kind of speak about, you kind of are doing it right now as we speak, but I guess for the people to kind of know where you are right now in terms of how you are managing social media and using all these different platforms to, you know, push different content out right now.
Yeah, for sure. And I think a roadmap is necessary to explain this. So I'm going to give you guys the map. I feel like a lot of the time, especially in a city like ours, it's like you got to pave the way before people want to jump in and play. Like you have to. Like there's no way that people are going to just say, okay, cool, I'm going to just trust your thoughts, you know? Because when I was thinking about what So Real Crew was doing on YouTube, even though they have proof of concept, it's a thought to other people because they're like, yo, we can't do that. We don't have the cameras. We don't have the choreography skills. We don't like, there's so many like what ifs or like, you know, can't that's in the way. But I figured that if I could pave the way, then at least I could show them it's possible through someone who wasn't even really supposed to be here doing this, you know? So I'm like, okay, same thing with Right Foot. I'm like, how does a 23-year-old kid decide I'm gonna be the youngest person in Canada to open up a studio just so that you guys can practice, you know? And then I did that. So then people were like, oh shit, okay, it's possible. Yeah. Then you got the underground dance company after that, and you have other ones, you know, because they see it's possible. Right. You know what I mean? So same thing came with this. I'm like, okay, like I'm not a huge YouTube star or Instagram star or whatever, but like if I can find a way to monetize content and film it myself or with my girl or with another person that wants to jump in and help, I should be able to convince more people to do that. And then that was the pure thought, you know? It was like, okay, so boom, Instagram. How do I make this go? I have 5,000 friends on Facebook, and they're all just friends, people that I genuinely met in person, which is wild, you know? But on Instagram, when I converted, I literally just hit a button. I was like, import all contacts, because that's how Instagram was back in the day. And I immediately got like 3,000 followers. People were like, oh, how? I'm like, I don't know. You know, just, you know, finesse. But after that initial 3K, it was hard to grow because it's all new, random people. And then I was like, well, what's the skill that's going to set you apart on Instagram? I'm like, it's photography. I haven't picked up a camera in my life, except for when I'm shooting like random things for Right Foot, but I also had people that were doing that. I wasn't good at it, you know, I was being honest. So picked up a camera, started figuring it out, started shooting myself, self-portraits, shooting my girl, shooting other friends and I was building, and I asked people to help me. Yo, let's do this together. And people were being a little bit slow. I'm like, I'll show you. Did the same thing. Paved my way again. I made another account on Instagram. People were like, yo, you're having trouble growing the first one. I'm like, trust me. Made a photography account. Just posted pictures of things and people I took. Did well. You know, that account still has like 23,000 followers. You know, but it's just out of not having without. You know, so I'm like, okay, boom, paved the way there. Paved the way with Instagram. Started contacting brands, and then people started saying, well, what kind of content can you provide? I'm like, well, listen, I dance, I do this, I do that. I have these people, I have friends, so we can. And I was like, well, what's an idea that you guys don't have? And then I would create an idea that's unique to their brand, that makes sense for what they would put out naturally, but just they don't have to do anything except for just pay for it.
Yeah.
Which they would anyway. And they're like, love it. And then that's how it started. You know, and then I started getting brand deals from there.
What are some of the brands that you've had the pleasure to work with? Who are some of those brands for people to know?
Nike, Toronto. And then blanking, sorry. Canada Goose, MGD, which is like Miller Genuine Drafts, a beer company, Absolute Vodka. I've done a lot of alcohol companies, you know. Yeah, there's even like this randomest thing, but recently over the quarantine, you know, as things shift, people have to do different things. Brands take a different direction. So we did like a sit Zoom dinner session with influencers. So people that, you know, have a certain following or they have influence in their collective groups, they would get sent. Like I remember the first one, it was a Canoe, bomb restaurant in Toronto, top of the TE Tower. They sent me like a gourmet meal, and then I got a bottle of Woodford Reserve. Sounds like a commercial, but Woodford Reserve whiskey, bourbon, you know.
Right.
And then they had like 4 different like cocktails, like pairings, and I had to like try it. Oh, try it with the chocolate, try it with this. And then we were like talking about the food, and he was explaining it, talking about the alcohol, how it's made, showed us a video. The chef came on the screen, and it was, and then they're like, yeah, we're signing up for 7 more of those, you know. And it was like, I'm getting paid, like it's sick.
Wow.
Sick.
So so those kind of things, you know. But a lot of clothing companies, because I'm in the fashion, and a lot of, and then Nike for the shoes, and they kind of like, I've had other offers, to be honest, but I've turned them all down.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that
Opportunity to turn down.
that's when you know you've made it.
You made it.
The collaboration you had with MGD for your own special unique shoe. Just
He
talk
has
about
his own shoe,
Is
y'all.
that, hold on, homie. Let me drop a flex bomb for that. He has his own shoe.
Yes.
Talk about the cat burglar
Once.
MGD one. Sorry, Leo. Let's talk about that.
Okay,
How that came to be.
Okay, for sure. Okay, so I've worked with MGD for 2 years. Okay, we took a break in the second year, but for the first year, it was in person. So it was 3 trips. It was basically, they were like, hey, we need 8 pieces of content. Cool, I can do it. And they helped me fill it. You know, we went on trips. We went to Argentina. We watched a basketball game, courtside, a couple other cool things, and then drank a lot of beer. You know, it was great. But then the second term, it was during the quarantine, so everything was, you know, like via Zoom or this or that, or just content driven. So they knew I was into footwear and like streetwear, and I guess they followed my journey. And we had meetings and we talked about things. And they created this whole like design lab situation too. So they were on the same kind of wave, and everyone, like the last group, they had like shirts and like hoodies, whatever. But then for my group, it just happened organically. We just knew it was like shoes, you know. Yeah. And then one of the homies from Calgary, his name's Jack the Ripper. He's like a super like dope shoe surgeon. Mm-hmm. Super good, like Jack the Ripper. Yeah. He partnered up with one of my like idols, Jeff Staple. He's like a legend. I literally, like, no plug. This isn't the plug.
Legend.
Doesn't matter. I'm just gonna pull it out real quick so you can see. Carry around.
Ooh.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a one of none, custom made pigeon. Because his thing is he created the pigeon dunks. Mm-hmm. I'm talking about, you guys know pigeons.
Legendary.
Look it up.
Please tell me. You better know. Do your Googles.
If you're watching this, you better know. The pigeons, Jeff Staple. That was his shoe, and this is his logo. So yeah, it's a can opener.
Super dope.
Super dope. Keep in my pocket in case someone wants a beer opened. Got you. Hold on, let me just. Like every time, it's crazy. But it's a story to tell, right? So yeah. So anyways, we got to talking, and we had three sessions, and we were going through design process, and I thought they were gonna just like tell me what they're gonna make, and that was it. But then I got involved. I got to pick the texture, like where I wanted the felt, where I wanted certain things. We talked about like, and then my contribution was that if I'm the cat burglar, and we tried to do like a whole bunch of things. I don't want to give away too much, but the logo incorporating Cat Burglar as a logo wasn't working. And we were like, how do we incorporate that? Because they wanted that. And I was like, well, listen. And I explained what the Cat Burglar means to me. And I'm like, this B-boy named Frost gave me the name from Ground Illusions. Shout out Frost. We're in a battle. And he's like, why is the guy wearing all black? I see you every time wearing all black. You just come in here. You don't even stretch. You don't do anything. You just walk up like you're super late. I literally was like driving late to the jam. And they called my name. And I came out. And I ran up to the set. And I battled. And I won. You know? So he was like, what's wrong with this guy? You're like a cat burglar, bro. You literally just pull up and steal the show. Steal a round. You take the crown jewels and you dip. And I was like, word. That's me. You know? That's
Cat
me.
burglar.
So I told that same story to Jeff Staple and Jack the Ripper on Zoom. And they were inspired. They're like, yo, that's dope. Like, we'll figure out, you know. And then they came back to me with the next sketch, and it was like just pairs of eyes, like cat eyes, like just like hundreds of them, and then all over the back of the shoe. And if you shine a light on it, or if it's dark, it's reflective. It's made at 3M, so you see the eyes, so you can see me coming. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Crazy.
But I already be in front of you. You know what I'm trying to say? Cat burglar.
And that's a one of one. How many
One
did
of
they
one.
make of that?
One of one.
Jeez.
Yeah. And it's based off of it's actually like a Travis Scott 270. Yeah.
That's super dope. That's in the display case.
I wear those.
You wear
Wear
them.
them.
I took them.
I mean, they're yours, right?
Wear your shoes,
Wear your
people.
shoes.
Wear your shoes. I took them to a mountain in Calabasas, hiked the mountain, flying the drone crashed. I had to walk through grass. It wasn't grass. It was like some wheat thing, gray, this tall. I had to walk through that, and then I came out. I was like, my shoes were, they're not toast. They're still good. But I was nervous. I was almost like, do I go home, change, come back? But the drone battery was dying, and I had to find my drone app works. But you have to make sure the battery doesn't die.
Priorities.
Yeah.
There's
crazy.
so much elements to this to our guests here
I know, it's
today,
crazy.
man.
It's crazy.
You've covered a lot of ground, man, and you're continuing to pushing the narrative, pushing your boundaries. Per people think that you should be going this way, you're like, no, I'm gonna go this lane, man. I'm impressed. I hope y'all impressed watching this
Yeah,
right
man.
now. I mean, you're taking notes, so you're jotting it down. This man went from here to here to here. It's like, and now he's, where he's at right now. I'm truly happy right now. But
Yeah.
I feel that we got some, we're getting kind of hungry. You getting hungry?
I'm hungry.
You're hungry.
Hungry.
You're hungry. So we got something coming up right now, and I think it's only gonna help that if we set the tone.
There you go.
Hey. Nice. Like the ad-libs, huh? Ad-lib king, ad-lib mixtape coming out soon. Jeez. Volume 1, jeez.
Dave, we want to welcome you to what we call Patty Chat.
Hey.
You know what it is. It's a good vibe. It's a good time where we get to yam pam patty.
Rapid fire question.
Rapid fire questions. You ready to know the steez. You ready to know the steez. Christian, where are these patties from today, bro?
Golden Patty in Kensington Market.
Say
They
word.
don't have an Instagram or Facebook, but shout out
Shout
to
out.
them.
Shout out
They're
to Golden
these
Patty.
Are actually really dope. Super flaky. They got a lot of flavors there. Random flavors.
Random flavors.
Yeah, but really good.
I've
really
tried
good.
some different ones. I have.
Yeah.
They're really, Golden Patty? It's a vibe.
It's the vibes.
Dope,
It's the
dope.
vibes.
It's a
still.
vibe
Shout
still.
out to them for today.
Yeah.
My wife loves the ackee and saltfish patties that they have.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. Who thought ackee and saltfish would go into a patty? But
Right?
like,
Smart.
it's a smart thing.
Ah.
Very simple stuff. All you have to do is answer these questions while you enjoy this patty from Golden Patty. I'm just gonna get a little nibble here, ready to rock.
Oh, shit. Preparation, eh?
Yeah, it's an operational ting dem.
I have to just go right into this.
Yeah, so we're gonna go one by one.
Yeah, let's go one by one.
You ready, Dave?
Yes. I'm ready.
You want if you want
Ask me the first question.
All right.
Yeah. Go.
Rapid fire.
ninjas or pirates?
Ninjas.
Boom. Which industry has more drama, dance or sneakers?
Dance.
Worst sneaker purchase?
I haven't bought shoes in like 7 years.
That's a flex. That's a flex. That's a flex. That's a
With his
flex.
mouth full, too.
Damn, I don't even know. I'm gonna say like,
These are good.
I don't know. Worst shoe purchase ever? Probably the ones that burnt in the sun and I can't wear them anymore.
Which one's that? They're burnt in the sun.
Yeah, I washed them and left them wet, and they burned in the sun. Oh, yeah. It was some shell toes.
All right. Mm-hmm. My most prized shoe is
It's a tie between my own Cat Burglar Volume 1 or the Nike Fear of God.
You weren't going to say the Red Octobers. Interesting. Hard flex. Hard flex. Hard flex. Hard flex.
Those are comfy joints, but those are like, this isn't meant to be a flex, but I wear those so much. They're not that prized possession anymore.
wear your shoes.
Name 3 must-have sneakers.
You got to have some ones, 100%. Then you got to get some that you can wear every day. Even if you're walking with your loved one for 8 hours in the mall, you got to get one of them ones. And I recommend some Air Max joints.
That's 2, and you want more.
Must have. You gotta get some hype. So like if you like Adidas, and, you know, you like Yeezy, like those new the Flame ones, hard. If you want some on the other side, you know what I mean? You got to get a collab joint with your favorite artist. What if there's an artist that you like? Travis Scott, I don't know, one of those ones. A collab joint.
Collab joint.
Like an Off-White, some collabby. Have a collabby shoe, have a comfy one that looks fresh, that's functional, that you can use in like any setting, and then have your classic ones.
Great advice. Iced coffee or hot coffee?
Hot coffee. Weird.
Summer or winter?
It's not a question. Summer.
What's worse, laundry or dishes?
Laundry. Never know what you can see in there. Just joking. Dishes I can handle. I can just do it.
A dance style that shouldn't be.
Oof. A dance style that shouldn't be.
That question.
I would say like 9 out of 10 TikTok dances.
9 out of 10.
Yeah, all of them.
Fair.
They suck.
TV or movie? Movies.
Movies.
Best sneaker purchase.
Purchase. Again, another tough question.
Not in the past 7 years, as you said before, so we're getting to it.
You know what? Probably sentimental value. Probably the Bumblebee high top Nikes, because I had to go home and change when I got them scuffed, and it started my whole path on this epic journey of cleanliness and being a clean dancer. Yeah, I would say those for sure.
Sweet or salty?
Salty. Why?
You can still eat the pattern whenever you feel like. A dance style you would like to learn.
Like to learn a proper learning. I would like to learn. So can I say tie between like turfing, like Bay Area, and whacking. Two. I'm very interested in those two.
Dope.
Yes.
What is currently in your sneaker rotation?
These ones right here. I have these really obscure random. They look like Yeezys, but they're from Zara, and they're like just bone color all the way through, just one color, and they look like Yeezys, and they're like my everydays. My own personal shoe, Cat Burglar ones. I wear that in rotation, and then I have there's some Sakai's that I really don't. I rock a lot. I probably have a different shoe on, like I probably don't go back to the first rotation until the 15th day. Yeah, I wear like 15 different shoes on average.
Beach or mountain?
Holy, spent a lot of time at the beach in LA last month. I'm personally more of a mountain person.
Cool.
Yeah.
It would be a dream come true to work with
Virgil Abloh.
Put it out there. Put it out there. Instagram or TikTok?
My heart says Instagram. My brain says TikTok. Take notes.
Take notes. Take notes.
I think weed is
Amazing.
What's worse, shoe scuff or spilled drink?
Scuff. Drink, you can get rid of that.
What is your favorite shoe of all time? Something you maybe don't have yet, or
The Lunar Force Air Force Ones, platinum. It's my favorite shoe of all time because, like I said earlier, Air Maxes are super dope for dancing. but they're not the most prettiest, Air Forces, too clunky for my taste. But the Lunar Forces are like the lightest Air Forces you've ever felt in your life. They're like as light as this patty, probably. Yeah, what's left of it is literally the same size, and well, not size, but the same weight as these Lunar Air Forces. Super dope. Love them.
Dope.
New clothes or new phone?
Close. Yeah. I have the newest phone, though. But that's only because, that's what we do out here, right?
It is what it is.
Yep.
Last question. In 10 years, I see myself.
10 years, I see myself dropping gems.
You doing that already?
Yeah, you did that today. Let's be clear.
Thanks. I see myself like fostering a new way for people around me to reinvent themselves and continue to like earn multiple streams of income. Because I think like for me, I love the idea of just like not staying stagnant and just like trying new things that you want to do in life. If you genuinely are interested, try it, but then also know how to take care of yourself. So like, it's like if I'm making a lot of money on TikTok, but I genuinely like taking pictures, I'll still have an Instagram, So it's like in 10 years, I still want to be doing those things, but in a higher capacity, right? With more people. I just want to enjoy life and, work with cool people.
One last thing. For anybody, any dancers or anybody just looking to have a business startup, just give a piece of advice. One thing that, people starting up their own business, what they should do or what they should look out for, or just any piece of advice. One thing.
Yeah, I'll give a fake one and then a real one. Learn the books, don't cook the books.
Explain that for those that may not understand. If it went over your head, what did you mean by that?
Don't take any shortcuts with your money and your finances and your business plan. If you don't have any of those things I just mentioned, go find that. Find the right person to help you with that. Because if you don't have your money right and your paper right, like unforeseen things can happen that can change the course of what you're trying to do. For example, I once paid $4,800 to fix a toilet because it was apparently my problem, not the landlord. Things like that, So, and then if you're doing taxes and you're doing things that involve the government, like don't mess around with that because they come for you and they don't stop ever. So don't cook the books, don't forge anything, just do it right. And if you can't, find someone to help you. That's like a really important step, And then the real piece of advice I would say is this is something that I've lived with for like, I think last 15 years. And I've been saying this, but if you can find where your passion and your talent, because they're different, where they intersect, you'll be happy and you'll be successful. So, for example, my passion, you guys probably have figured it out, but it's not solidified, is my passion is I like to talk. I like to speak, okay? I like to share things, right? It's not my dance or any other stuff. It's that type of talk. But my talent is the fact that I'm able to connect with people and I'm able to connect other people in a safe space where they're trusting of each other and me. And I can dance and all the other stuff, right? So that's my talent. But then the passion is speaking. So if I'm able to communicate and be a nice enough person in real life with people, then all my talents combined can keep venturing the ship forward because I don't have any hurdles. People sometimes get issues when they have communication problems or they block, So that's my thing. It's like my passion's here, talent. When you find the two, yeah, you're good.
Wow.
That's a gem.
Season finale.
Come
on.
Dave, we want to say thank you, man. You definitely came through and dropped some gems for us and shared a lot, man. You shared a lot about your come up and your first insight of how dance got connected with you and sneakers and how I was able to stretch all these years, bro. So thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you.
Yes, yeah, man, 100%.
Yeah.
Let's close this out. Season finale.
Come on.
That's how we did it out here. Kicks on Stage. We want to thank you guys. Thank you guys for checking us out. We really do appreciate it. Thank you, David. And we'll see you on season 2.
Season 2. Be on the lookout.
See us out on season 2. Peace out, y'all.
Yeah. So you can't even love because you don't understand. Girl, I know. Yeah. They wouldn't understand me. Try to tell you all, but you wouldn't comprehend me. Try to give it all, but you wouldn't understand me. go party with friends. Yeah, and choosing from and Prius and Benz. But that's where it ends. Extending my hand. Yeah. Just for you to go say sorry and cut it again.
Thanks for checking out this episode of Kicks on Stage. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel and turn on that bell anytime you want to see us drop a new video. Christian, anything you want to say?
No, sir.
Then that's what's up. Kicks on Stage.
Peace.